Ladies and gents, boys and girls, Monday, February the 27th, 2023. Hope you're all doing well. Chris Phillips here of the Daily Crow of the Spurs Up Show. Appreciate you all tuning in. I see Noah Johns, Travie, Todd Smith, Brennan MC, Youngblood, Gad, Ethan James, John Edward. What's going on? Appreciate you all tuning in. Also, those in the Big Cock Club Discord. What is up? We got a lot to get into here on this show. Of course, if you are in the Discord, head over to the TDC Questions channel, the TDC Questions channel, to be sure that your questions are answered there. Ronnie Pace, what's going on? Appreciate you tuning in. Very excited to chat with you all each here on this Monday. We have got a lot to get into here on a bit of a victory Monday, if you will. Baseball gets the sweep. Women's basketball finished off an undefeated regular season. Of course, men's basketball, we're not really talking about that anymore. The SEC tournament begins this week also for the postseason for women's basketball. Got a lot to get into, and of course, it is Slim Sucks Week. Todd Smith with the super chat here on a Monday. Thank you, Todd. If you do want to support the business, support the channel, support the content, and you're on YouTube, you can do so through super chat, super stickers, really, really great stuff. And again, I appreciate you, Todd Smith, and everybody else that shows love for TDC. Of course, as always, TDC brought to you by our friends, guys, over at Prize Picks. Go download the Prize Picks app or go to prizepicks.com. And when you do, use the promo code TSUS to receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100. Guys, March Madness is just around the corner. This is the final Monday in the month of February. Of course, the final day of February will be tomorrow, and then March will be here. We've got the women's basketball SEC tournament next weekend, or next week, if you will. We've got the men's SEC tournament, and then in a couple weeks or so, March Madness will begin. It is a great time of year to be a sports fan, with baseball season, both college and MLB getting rolling. Of course, also basketball. We're going to have spring football coming up soon. The spring game will be here before you know it. So again, it's a great time also to win money with our friends at Prize Picks. So many fans and listeners of TDC have made tons of money with Prize Picks. You should as well. And guys, let me stop and say thank you all so much, because I actually had a call with the fine folks of Prize Picks last week, right, in regards to an expansion and an extension of our partnership with them. And they were so complimentary of you guys, our audience, our fan base, in regards to just saying, you know, your fan base is extremely interactive. They engage. The engagement numbers are incredible. And so, yes, we would absolutely be interested in continuing, to extend this partnership with you guys and to do even more. So, guys, I just genuinely cannot say thank you enough. You know, I've said many times the podcast, I know some of you may wonder, does me signing up really do anything? Does it help the show? The answer is yes. Yes, it does. It absolutely does. So again, thank y'all. The guys, I did not realize this, by the way, when I chatted with them, what was it, Thursday or Friday or whatever. They are located in Atlanta. So I think the next time that me and my guy head to Atlanta and go catch a Braves game, we'll have to stop by their office. Apparently, their CEO is a Georgia grad. They've got Florida grads. They've got tons of SEC guys on their staff. So, again, really, really excited. And just thank you. Thank you so much again for the love and support. Again, that's Prize Picks. Use that promo code TSUS at sign up to receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100. Be sure to check them out. Tell them that Chris and the Spurs Up Show sent you. Above average. What's up, my guy? It was an above average weekend for the Yardcocks. Ooh. Yeah, go Bravos, by the way. Chop on, baby. Chop on. How does it feel? Seriously, P-Dog. How does it feel to go into another season of MLB knowing the Mets aren't going to do shit? How does that feel? Like, last year was the year. You can't even disagree. Last year was the Mets' year, and they fell apart. How does that feel? John Edwards going to make your life hell this season. I already know it. Let's get into your comments, guys, because I know you guys have tons of reactions to what happened over the weekend. Gamecocks get the big series sweep over a good Penn team, right? We talked about Penn going into the weekend and what type of ball club they were. I think they even surpassed my expectations. My goodness, were they good. Brian Dean says, Gamecocks get the sweep. Taters got swept. Great weekend to be a Gamecock. Women's softball also with a 15-1 record. Women's basketball 29-0. Indeed. Yeah, feels good to be good. What a weekend it was. Evan says, do you think UPenn wins the series against last year's South Carolina team? That's a great question. And it's tough, Evan, I'll say this, not to beat up on those guys any more than the season beat up on them in the, the record and, anything like that. But, you bring up a great point. And I'll say this, Evan, I think at minimum, the difference in this year's team and last year's team is that yesterday's game would have been to win 2 of 3, not to sweep the series. You know what I mean? I think it's easy to say that they would have lost 2 of 3, but I think it's fair. I think it's absolutely fair. So a great job all in all. I mean, again, you get the job done. It wasn't quite the offensive explosion we saw in the first weekend, but the bottom line is this, as the shirt says, win freaking anyway. Let's jump to the phone lines.
Call from
Eric Broom.
What's going on, man? How are you?
Hey, Chris, it's Eric from the Aiken, Augusta area. How are you doing today, bud?
Doing well. Shout out, Eric, to the CSRA. Appreciate you calling in.
Hey, bud, I just want to let you know. So I was at the Lady Gamecocks game yesterday, and I think you're from the CSRA as well.
Yes.
So you know just how just obnoxious. And when it's Georgia fans are so obnoxious that it makes our rivalry against Clemson seem like they're the henchmen to Georgia. Like Georgia is just living in the CSRA, dealing with their shit. And to just see them finally, even if it's in women's basketball, just seeing Georgia go down is the greatest thing on the planet. We have a heck of a squad of girls on that team.
Yeah, my friend, it's why I tell people that growing up, again, I mean, I became a diehard Gamecock fan end of 2002, beginning of 2003 when I was 11 or 12 or so. That's when it really clicked. But, I tell people growing up, I actually probably hated Georgia more than Clemson. I definitely did. I definitely hated Georgia more than Clem sucks because at that point, Clem sucks on the football field was not, what they have been. They were kind of like us, right? Like a 6-6 program, just sort of fighting for bowl eligibility, nothing crazy. But Georgia was so good with David Green, David Pollock, and their fans. Yeah, as you mentioned, man, their fans, living right there on the border. They're so relentless. I mean, they're so relentless. So, no, it's always sweet to beat Georgia, man. We could beat Georgia, and I mean, it's just like Clem sucks, man. We could beat them in cornhole, and we're going to brag about it. You know what I mean? It's just always good to beat them.
Now, I did have one question for you.
Mm-hmm.
So, regarding switching gear, going to the football team, like I'm like you, every free second I get, I'm researching something Gamecocks related. Huge fan. Well, I've been one of those people where I knew at the start of last season that it was going to be a special season.
Mm-hmm.
And despite the lows, the Florida game, the Mizzou game, just being there and seeing us torch Tennessee and play a hell of a game against Clemson and just know that, things are starting to come. Wonderful things are starting to come on the horizon. Do you think, my prediction is a 10-win season and maybe even a shot at a spoiler if teams like Georgia, when we play them, they just completely go in just over the top, cocky like they normally are, kind of come in the game like they did, like Tennessee did against us. Do you think that there is a possibility that we could actually see a Spurrier era top 10 finish this coming season?
Well, my way too early predictions, I mean, I picked 9-3. So it's not like we're all that far off, and I don't think it's outside of the realm of possibility. I would probably put, on the scale of we do every year, worst case scenario, best case scenario, I'd probably put 10-2 as the best case scenario. I think for that, I would also say for that to happen, I think South Carolina, and I think they will, but I think you need to go pick up some more pieces in the portal. I think running back is an area of concern. I think the edges are still an area of concern. There are question marks, but to your point, I said it when Spencer Rattler and Juice Wells announced their return that South Carolina all of a sudden goes from a team fighting for bowl eligibility for 6 or 7 wins to all of a sudden you're a sleeper in the SEC East. I mean, when you look at it, Georgia's got a new quarterback. Tennessee's got a new quarterback. Florida's a mess. Missouri's a team I still believe you should beat. Kentucky, they've got a new quarterback, and while he's a good one coming from NC State, I believe, You beat them last year on their field. You get them at home. Vandy's Vandy. So, I think there's realistically there's a path for 9 to 10 wins. I mean, I still think there's question marks across this roster. And I think is it possible South Carolina could beat Georgia? I mean, sure, right? It's college football. Upsets happen. I still think the Dogs at this point are a 2-touchdown favorite. I really do. I think that Georgia's still Georgia. They're elite. I mean, they've got talent everywhere. I mean, outside of quarterback, man, they're just loaded. I'm not saying, hey, they've got 5 stars waiting to play QB also. I mean, granted, their OC is Mike Bobo now, so we'll see how that goes. And I know we love to have fun with that, and all my homies hate Mike Bobo, but they've just got immense talent. And when I look at the Georgia game, I still just sort of cringe because of our questions up front on the line of scrimmage. I mean, you got to think, man, we're replacing a lot on both lines of scrimmage. It's not just defense. I mean, the offense, you think about it, you're losing, 3 starters? And I know you're recruiting really well on that side, but you're not going to have a bunch of freshmen ready to play. And if you're playing a bunch of freshmen, they're not going to be ready to go up against Georgia's defensive front. I can tell you that. So, solving that issue and the line of scrimmage, and I know people get so tired of hearing it, but I really do believe line of scrimmage and line of scrimmage depth is what separates most teams from – the elites, like the Georgias and the Alabamas and the LSUs. It's truly about having the big uglies up front. Everybody in the SEC has good athletes, man. Some have more than others. Bama's got more talented athletes than Vanderbilt, right? But I mean, South Carolina has good athletes. And one of the biggest reasons you saw in the Tennessee and the Clemson games, the last 2 games, the offensive front played really well. Like Spencer Rattler had time to throw. He had time to make plays down the field. I mean, that game against Clemson, that's probably the thing that gets brushed under the rug the most is that, the Tigers. No, but Spencer Rattler had time. He had time to make those plays. This, my friend, is that we had a veteran O-line coming back last year, and they were trash early on. I mean, they were bad, right? I mean, they got better. The O-line got better, but they were not good. And so if you see that similar progression this year, you're not even going to stand a chance in Athens. You won't have a chance. So, again, to your point, I think 10-2's doable. I think it's realistic. I think it's possible, but I definitely think it's on the more optimistic end. I mean, that's why I've said I think 8-4 or better would be a fantastic finish this year. But I know that was a bit of a long-winded answer, but there's a wide range of possibilities this year. But I think what year 3, the important part is raising the floor of Carolina football, and I think you do that with an 8-4 or better finish.
I agree, absolutely. And then utilizing the transfers, Trey from Arkansas coming over with Dow, using some of the tight end strength that we're regaining, and some of the O-line transfers. If I'm not mistaken, the guy from Ole Miss who's a 4-star. Just trying to fit those pieces in really, and just make magic work, which we know Shane from the bowl game against North Carolina. Shane Beamer, Pete Limbo, his whole coaching staff is amazing at where we lack talent, just being smarter than the opponent at times. With that being said, obviously Missouri and Florida were huge exceptions, but just finding ways to outsmart and win your opponent, and just with.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, listen, we're going to be well coached, right? We're going to be well coached, no doubt. I think Beamer's earned that benefit of the doubt going into the season. We are going to be well coached. We will overachieve. I fully expect it yet again. I think doubt Shane Beamer at your own peril, right? So I guess my attitude, though, going into the fall is this. Are we as good as what we did against Tennessee and Clemson? I don't know. Maybe not. Are we as bad as what we saw against Florida and Missouri? I don't think so. I think we're somewhere in the middle. Where does that leave you? I don't know. I don't know. So, again, I think there's reasons to believe. I think the range of possibilities goes everywhere from 7-5 to 10-2, which is pretty wide. But I think that's fair. I do. I think that's fair.
I think that getting those Mizzou, and I honestly think that getting Mizzou and Florida, which were the head scratchers of last year, right? Because on paper, I think we were better than Mizzou and Florida. I don't think that Mizzou or Florida could have done to Tennessee or Clemson what we did. Or, but the flip side of that is, you turn around and have the great game the 2 next weeks. And a lot of that, there are so many factors that are involved, and Marcus Satterfield might have been one of them. However, the other thing is we've got to replicate that, or not replicate, but we actually have to change the outcome of those 2 games this season, because those are ones that we should win, I feel like. And if you win the games you should win, and then you take, you have a Tennessee victory or a Clemson victory or one of those big games throughout the season, I think that consistency is we got to have it.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you ask South Carolina football fans what they want to see more than anything, I think consistency would be the answer. I mean, again, I think that's what's plagued, this program for the longest, is the inconsistency. And like you said, losing games that you feel like you're quote unquote not supposed to lose. But hey, I would say this, my friend, with your level of confidence, Brad Crawford's early projection for the over under is 7.5. I will expect you to be hammering that with the over.
Yeah, absolutely, my friend. Well, I'll let you get to the other calls, my friend. It was good talking to you. Go Cox.
Hey, go Cox. Shout out to the CSRA, my friend. I appreciate you. Great stuff. Great stuff, as always. 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3337. Guys, it's a big week here on this side of things. When you think about what's going on the field, on the court, of course, big series sweep over the weekend. When you look ahead to this week, Gamecocks will return to action tomorrow. They will take on North Carolina A&T. Really excited to get back after it in the midweek. There is a midweek game, right? No looking past it. We expect South Carolina will take care of business, but Gamecocks do have a midweek. After that, of course, it's Clem Sucks week. It is Clem Sucks week officially, and yours truly going to bring the heat all week long. Friday, it gets going. 6 o'clock first pitch. Saturday at 1 o'clock in Greenville, and then Sunday at 1:30 at Founders Park. We are doing live stream watch-alongs for all 3 of the games this weekend. The same way you're tuned into TDC right now, you can tune into the live stream watch-along. Is going to be an absolute blast. More on that in just a second. Let's jump to the phone lines.
Call from
Dirty Myrtle.
Will from Dirty Myrtle, you're on the air. What's going on, my friend?
Nothing, man. Just chilling, bro. Just calling to I'm excited, man, about this weekend. I got tickets to go see the Clemson Carolina game at Carolina on Sunday.
Very
Hopefully
nice.
We'll be closing out a suite.
Yeah, I think that one's going to be packed, man. I've talked to a lot of people that'll be at Founders Park on Sundays. I think all 3 games, but definitely Saturday and Sunday. I think really, really good crowds. Yeah, excited for it.
Yeah, excited. Who do you think's going to be on the bumper? Are they going to keep the same rotation, or you think it's a possibility Noah Hall might pitch?
No, I think they'll keep. I think they'll keep the same rotation. I do. I think barring.
I think Noah Hall is so nasty, man.
He is. He is. Absolutely, he is. And I'll say this. I talked a lot about this, of course, on the podcast that dropped this morning. But I think Will Sanders is still your Friday guy, right? He's the first round projected guy. I mean, I think you could argue he's got the best stuff on the staff, and I think Will Sanders will come into form and be that dominant type of guy. I think he'll have a performance like a Noah Hall had over the weekend. But what's so impressive about Noah Hall is that he doesn't get the hype. He doesn't have the accolades. He's not a projected first rounder. And again, he may not have the best stuff on staff, but he is a relentless competitor. He's got maybe the nastiest pitch on the staff with that changeup. It's just absolute filth.
Yeah.
And when you're attacking the zone and hitting your spots the way he was and just throwing strikes and, you're a fearless competitor. And again, you've got really good stuff and his velo's gone up this year, but that's a recipe for success. And, I think having him in that Saturday spot is a great role again. I think Will Sanders, the guy pitched 5 innings, didn't give up an earned run. So it's not like he pitched poorly, wasn't quite as efficient.
No, he did well.
Yeah, he just wasn't quite as efficient as a Noah Hall was, obviously filling up the zone. But no, I would expect them. I think you're going to see it be Sanders, Hall, Mahoney all year, barring, poor performance or knock on wood, that I word that I don't even want to say that haunted us last year. But I think it's going to be
Right.
those same 3 guys, which again is a luxury. There's a lot of top teams that are fighting to find their Sunday guy, and There's shuffling going on in their starting rotation. So to have that solid three, to have those same three guys week after week is certainly an advantage. And, what Noah Hall did this past weekend was masterful.
Mahoney's got a lot of power too, man.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Mahoney's impressive in his own right. I mean, I think we got the three best. Like, if you're talking about, 1 to 3.
Yeah.
I think we got the three best maybe in the SEC.
I would run out our starting rotation against anybody. I will say that. We're that's the thing in SEC play. We're gonna have a great shot every weekend. If we can swing it even just a little bit, we got a great shot.
Yeah, hopefully the bats will heat up a little bit. But I hats off to Penn. I think their pitching staff was really good, especially that guy that went yesterday. I think he came a long way from last year because the last year's stats weren't very impressive. I don't think he even had a start, but dude was throwing 95 nasty out there. He looked impressive. I mean, I think they had a really good underrated pitching staff. You know what I mean?
They did. No, Penn had a great staff. I'll say this, Will, back to your point about the Gamecock staff. I said it in the preseason, and I thought maybe it's a little bit bold, but I'll just throw it out there. But I feel confident. I know it's just been 2 weekends, and I know you got to go through SEC play. But this is an Omaha pitching staff. Like this is truly an Omaha pitching staff.
Yeah. This
entire season is on the hitting. At the fear or threat of sounding like a broken record, it's all about the hitting because this is an Omaha pitching staff. This staff is good enough to take you there, right? This staff, you're going to win 30
Absolutely.
games alone off the pitching. I mean, we talked about it
How
going
many
into
home runs did we have last year total?
I'd have to look. I mean, we had a fair number. I mean, nowhere near probably what we're tracking right now, but we had a fair number. I mean, you had the Josiah Seitlers and Braylon Wimmers and, some others, Brant Belks, if you will. But I mean, the offense.
It started off way slower though, right?
Oh, it did. Yeah, no, it definitely did. You weren't, you didn't have the offensive explosion like you had in weekend number 1, no doubt. But, I'll say this about the offense. I think we're going to be better than we were last year. Number 1, because you can't be worse. Number 2, we do have a much more veteran lineup. I understand that yesterday was frustrating. It was frustrating as hell. You leave 19 runners on base. It just can't happen. It just can't happen. But I feel like we'll be able to make the adjustments much more effectively this year because we have a group of veteran hitters. It's not a bunch of freshmen trying to figure it out. It's not a bunch of guys that, we're more talented this year. Let's just call it for what it is. We are more talented, right? We're better 1 through 9 than we were last year. So the hope again and the expectation is that a guy like a Gavin Cassis, like a McGillis, like a Carson Hornung that's a year older, Lee Croy that's a year older, Wimmer that's a leader, Messina that's a year older, a Denny that's a veteran transfer guy, that this group of guys will be able to make the adjustment. I'm just really not sure you were in that position last year.
The freshman might be the gem of them all, dude.
Yeah,
I mean,
Petrie's incredible, dude.
I mean, my God.
Yeah,
Petrie might be the best freshman in the country.
Yeah, Petrie's incredible. Petrie's incredible. Yeah, he's. I mean,
Absolutely.
Dude, it's hard not to. I mean, he looks like Grayson Griner reincarnated, like literally a spitting image, same number and everything. I mean, he looks just like him. So yeah, and Petrie's special. He's going to be he might be a 3 years and done kind of guy. And I say that as a compliment, obviously, because that means he'll be going to the draft. So, anyways.
Yeah, excited to see what happens this weekend. I mean, Clemson got swept by UCF, which they're a decent ball club, but definitely looks like they need to figure out their pitching. They're
a decent ball club. I'll say this though, and we'll talk about it more as we go throughout the week, but there's absolutely no excuse for South Carolina to at minimum not win 2 of 3. I mean, there's just no excuse. I mean, I look ahead, way too early prediction, but I just look ahead and I'm like, if I pick them to win 2 or 3, like which game are they going to lose? Like which starting pitcher are you going to pick to lose? Because I expect them all to throw well. I mean, I think they're all going to throw well. Like, that's the beauty of this year, man, is like you have the pitching. You go into every game expecting to win. I don't feel like we're behind the 8 ball in the bump at any point. Like we have the arms. We got plenty of arms. Our guys going to have bad days. Sure. It's going to happen. Guys are going to get hit. We saw it last year. Will Sanders got hit a couple times. Noah Hall got hit a little bit. Becker got hit sometimes. Kate Austin got hit. You're a pitcher. You're going to get hit, but like we've got the dudes, man. I mean, we've just got the dudes where I feel confident we should win every day. We should win every single day. And you see Jerzenbeck in relief yesterday, and I know he was, he wanted a little bit more out of his outing, but I thought he was really good. I think as a freshman, his biggest thing is just kind of the mental side and kind of calming it all down. And you can just see the emotions oozing out of him. But which is a good thing. I mean, he cares. He loves it. He cares. So it's an embarrassment of riches on the mound, man. And I tell you this, it's the hitting's a concern, but to be a great team, you have to have the pitching. You just have to have it. So I'm not saying we're a great team yet by any means. We played 8 games, but it's good signs early, and this is a big weekend, man. There's no. We'll talk about it a lot, but there's no twist in it. There's no sugarcoating. It's a massive weekend. I mean, it's got to have it. You got to have it, especially after last year.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'll be out there screaming my head off, having a good time. But one more quick thing. I feel bad. I mean, I'm glad that our team is playing as well, but I do feel a little bad for Braswell, man. Because he's a talent, but it's just like we just don't have anywhere to put him in, to plug him in right now where he fits, third or wherever. He's not going to get there. So I just feel bad that, it looks like he might be transferring before he's up possibly, but oh well,
I mean, yeah, it's unfortunate, but it's when you play big time baseball, man, it happens. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. It just happens. It's competition. And, if you're not hitting, I mean, we're not going to play a guy just out of pity, right? we're not, you're not going to do that. Yeah. So.
And defensively, man, Stone, my God, he's been really good so far too in the outfield. Made some real impressive plays.
Yeah, he's been incredible. I think we've been better defensively. It hasn't been perfect, but I do think we've been better defensively. So when you combine elite pitching with good defense, man, you're cooking. You're cooking with something.
But anyway, brother, I'm gonna hop off out of here, man. I'll talk to you later.
Will, I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for the call. Great stuff. Will from Dirty Myrtle. Again, we're wide open, taking your questions, comments, calls, 843-790-3377. A victory Monday after the series sweep of the Penn Quakers. And to Lynn's point, we left too many men on base with runners, or we left too many base runners on Sunday. That has been our Achilles heel in recent years. Brian Dean responds, you got to credit Penn's pitching for that. And I'll say this, listen, Penn is a good team. Like, let's not get it twisted. Penn is a very good ball club. That's a very good ball club we just played. I'm not trying to anoint them as they'd win the SEC or that's like playing Tennessee or LSU, but that's a quality team. That's a quality team that South Carolina just swept. When you're rolling it, listen, when you're Sunday guy, Penn's throwing out a Sunday guy pumping 94, 95, that's something I didn't expect, right? I didn't necessarily expect that. So give credit to Penn for sure. With that being said, you get a runner on third, less than 2 outs, you got to get him in. You got to put the bat on the ball. I understand guys are throwing 95. I get that. But you see that every day in practice. You're facing, I mean, think about it, guys. These guys are facing Noah Hall. They're facing Will Sanders. They're facing Jack Mahoney. We're seeing the best of the best. We're not seeing many others that are better than what we got, right? And so I understand, listen, hitting a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, it's not easy. But you get a runner on third, less than 2 outs, you got to get him in. And so if you would have lost that game, see, that's the interesting thing, Lynn, right? Because we hit the back-to-back home runs and because we won the game 6-5, we're only focused on the positives, which is we won the ball game, right? When you lose, you critique and you analyze every little thing that went wrong. And so if South Carolina would have lost 5-4, right? If the back-to-back home runs don't happen, we are having a much different conversation today. We are discussing 19 runners left on base. 0 for 7 with the bases loaded. Penn did everything in their power to give you that ball game and to get blown out. I mean, from the pitching side of things, you're cheating death. Walking that many guys, hitting that many guys, and getting away with it. I mean, normally, guys, that does not happen. You walk guys, they score. More often than not, they score. So what happened yesterday was a bit interesting, a bit strange, if you will, right? Situational hitting, timely hitting, right? It's not about just hitting. It's about timely hitting. Guy gets on third base, less than 2 outs, can you drive them in? And I'm not saying anything they don't already know. I'm not saying anything that Kingston and Monty Lee aren't telling them today and all throughout the week. But that will determine what type of ball club this is this year. Not just can you hit, not just can you hit home runs. And again, embrace the home run, because the fact that you've got guys like Gavin Cassis and Will McGillis that can change the game with a swing of the bat, that's a positive. But in between that, it shouldn't just be that or a strikeout. It's like, can you put the baseball in play? Hey, give credit to Cole Messina, who tied the ball game up with a fielder's choice. It's at bats like that. Maybe it's not flashy. It's not as cool as hitting the home run. But a guy like Cole Messina, in that situation, fielder's choice, it gets the run in. Right? It gets the run in. It tied the game at that point. Those are the type of bats you need more of. And so I'm not trying to be overly critical here on a Monday after picking up a sweep over a good Penn team, and give Penn's pitchers credit. They buckled down when they needed to. But that will eventually bite you if it continues. That will bite you. Leaving 19 runners on base, that'll bite you. That will hurt you, right? So that's got to be a point of emphasis this season. I know it is. I'm saying nothing they're not talking about behind closed doors. 843-790-3377. Brandon Ward says Clem sucks week. F them taters. I hear you. I mean, you see the cap, my guy. I'm fired up. I'm excited. Check out our Clem Sucks collection, tsus.store. By the way, guys, I was thinking about this. What do y'all think about Clem Sucks towels for the football season this year? Thought about that potentially. Freddie Kitchens going to UNC. That's a big one. Here we go. Let's jump to the phone lines here. Skyler, what's going on? How are you?
Yeah, good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. Appreciate you asking. What's up, my friend?
What a way to scrap out a sweep this weekend.
What a way to scrap out a sweep indeed, man. Yeah, it's crazy. 2 one-run wins, which, again, I think are great wins. And the fact that you're able to win a one-run ball game, I think it says a lot about your ball club. But, find a way, win anyway, man. That's what it comes down to, win anyway. And I'll tell you this. We knew that the competition was taking a step up. I don't think that we knew it would be quite this good. So,
Right. We did leave too many on base, I think.
I mean, I think that goes without saying, my guy. I think when you leave 19 runners on base in a game and you go 0 for 7 with the bases loaded, I think that goes without saying, my friend.
Right. Well, I do love the scrappiness and the fight. And I just feel like there's a real team chemistry here, and there's a good leadership, and they fight and they play for each other. And I feel like they just don't give up for each other, and I really like this in this team.
Yeah. I mean, you do have to love that, man, because at the end of the season, I mean, listen, I was talking about this earlier, is that, when you look back on this season, I don't think you're going to remember that you left 19 runners on base. I don't think you're going to remember that you went 0 for 7 with the bases loaded. You're going to remember you won. You're going to remember you swept Penn, right? When Penn's a 3 or 4 seed, I think they're going to be in the postseason. When they're a 3 or 4 seed, all we're going to remember is, remember when we swept Penn? We're not going to recall really how it happened, nor are we going to care. Like I look back, dude, I've got this thing hanging in the studio. You can probably see. It is the 2010 National Championship banner with the record, and it's got every game, right? It's got every game and the score. I can't tell you exactly what happened in every game, Skyler. You can't tell me what happened in every game. The fact of the matter is you won. That's all that matters, is that you win. So while there are things to correct, right? Situational hitting's got to be better. You and I both agree. As long as you keep winning and you win anyway, that's all that matters. Win anyway. Just find a way to win ball games. That's it.
I agree. I'm a little concerned because the competition did step up and the bats did struggle versus an Ivy League team. What happens when we get into SEC pitching and better pitching than what we saw this weekend?
Yeah. Were you, Skyland, surprised at the amount of guys Penn rolled out there, though, throwing 94, 95? That surprised me.
Yeah, that was really surprising.
I did not know. I did not think Penn had a Sunday guy that was going to throw 94. Like, I just didn't see that coming.
They're a good ball to go. I'm not going to take nothing away from Penn.
Let me ask you this, too. Here's another fun question. You just swept Penn. How would you compare Penn to Clem Sucks?
I watched a good bit of Clemson this weekend, believe it or not. I'll be frank honest with you. I think Penn would take 2 out of 3 out of Clemson between the two teams I saw. they played last weekend.
I think that's very fair. I think that's very fair.
I didn't get to see Friday games because I'm back on second shift and I don't get to watch Friday games. Well, which I am off this Friday. I took a vacation day for Friday. But it looks like it's going to rain it out. And I think we're going to play a 2-game series this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like early in the day, definitely rain. My hope is that either one, the forecast changes, or two, it looks like at night it's a chance of 40%. So maybe it rolls out, but it definitely looks like it's going to be kind of nasty on Friday as far as what we're seeing. Clem sucks because, it's pretty nice all weekend, I think, in Columbia. And then Sunday up in the upstate, it's going to be beautiful. So I don't know. We'll see. I would like to see him, Skyland, personally, if Friday gets rained out, play Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I don't like the idea of moving the game to a Tuesday. I don't like it. I don't moving the game to a midweek, and I don't think you.
I think they cancel the game and they just don't play it, and it's just
cancel. No way, not a chance, dude. Not a chance they cancel it.
I just think they do. It's just my prediction, but I don't know nothing.
We'll see.
I'm just going off what I heard. But
hey, just play a double. Just play a double header at Fluor Field.
No, they won't do that. They'll play a double header in Columbia before then. But I will say this.
Hey, I got one. Play Saturday morning at 10 a.m. at Clem Sucks' field, and then play like Saturday afternoon at like 5 or 6 o'clock at Fluor Field. They're close. They're close to each other.
They are.
Double header. It'd be like a damn summer ball tournament where you go from one field to the other.
That's true. I do feel like this weekend, though. Clemson's got a lot of young pitchers, mainly freshmen and sophomore. A lot of young lefties. They struggled really to find the strike zone this weekend versus Central Florida. I think how patient our offense is. I think we'll be fine if we play 3 games. I just don't see how they pull out a victory at all. So if we end up playing 3 games, I think we sweep.
Love that. Yeah. Hey, listen, I think there's a lot of reasons to feel confident going into this weekend. No question.
I'm just curious of how our bats are going to be when we face Georgia, Arkansas, Ole Miss. We don't even play Ole Miss, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this, and that's a very fair question. That's a fair concern. I absolutely. I will say this, though, Skyland, the fact of the matter is this: we're winning games, and
that's all that matters.
And other teams are not. So, I mean, and listen, I think you're very fair. I mean, you and I both agree, and I'll say this. Just because you're 8-0, it doesn't guarantee this is going to be a good season. I mean, honestly, I hate to say that, but it's like until you play an SEC game, like this is nice. This is really nice to stack wins because they all count. And it's winning these games. You know, I think the importance of these games, winning these are the difference between traveling to a regional and hosting. Really, truly. It is.
And remember, if we go back to our preseason talks, we both predicted about 20 wins non-conference anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I expected South Carolina to be much, much improved in the non-conference. So, you know, we will see. But I think the concerns, I mean, I think you and I both agree. There's a reason why I don't give predictions, or excuse me, not predictions. There's a reason why I don't give like keys to the weekend for baseball, because they're always the same. Great elite pitching, good defense, and timely hitting. And so South Carolina is the key to their SEC play will be timely hitting.
I was just saying I am super proud of the scrappiness and the fight this team has.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that's you know, you got to love that for sure. I mean, you go down, you could have easily, like the fact that you didn't get discouraged leaving all those runners on base and you're still just able to find a way to win anyway. That's what it's all about, man. That's South Carolina baseball to a T. So, you know, when they were asking earlier in the season about what's the mantra for this year, the mantra for Carolina baseball is win anyway, forever and ever. That's what it's always been. That's what it always will be. Win anyway.
Right. Like I said, I hope Friday clears up. I just don't see how they try to push the game back. Maybe the 6 o'clock game, and then maybe start time 6. The latest start time, I'll say 9 o'clock maybe. Because you have to turn around.
That'd be kind of fun. That'd be kind of fun.
But you have to turn around and play at 1 o'clock the next day. And that means you're at the ball field by what, 9 o'clock?
Yeah.
So I don't know how they're going to do that, but it's going to be interesting to see if they move it to Monday or they cancel it, or I don't know what they're going to do.
We shall see, my friend. We shall see. Going to be interesting. Very excited for the weekend. Of course, we can't overlook the midweek that happens tomorrow, but I know we're pumped for the weekend.
How you feel about Tiplet getting the start in center since Stone's not hitting? How you think?
I like it. I think Tippett's upside is way higher than Evan Stone. I don't dislike Evan Stone, but I think you can see it, man. There's a reason they're so high on him, and at minimum, it's just great. It's just great to have another option. Let me ask you this: how many more at bats does Dylan Brewer get this year?
I don't know. I think you possibly see him coming up maybe Tuesday.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. I'm just curious.
Stone showed you on the last play of the game.
Yeah,
well, he's there defensively, but you think this Tiplet has more pop in his bat than Stone ever will have.
Yeah.
Tiplet drew this first two at bats. I mean, he's getting the balls around.
Yeah.
So, but definitely, I'm scared of the outfield if Tiplet and Petrie's out there, because it takes away tremendously defensive outfield.
Yeah. Petrie also named one of the players of the week by Baseball America. So shout out. Yeah, Petrie's a hell of a player, man. Glad he's on our roster.
I don't know how much more Oregon gets a chance either. So I kind of went mind moving McGillis up the leadoff, because he does battle every at bat, and he does hit the ball hard.
Yeah.
And he has good at bats. So.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly don't think LeCroy's a leadoff. I don't see that.
That's what this team's lacking, though. Good leadoff. If we had a good leadoff batter, we can stretch this lineup a little bit more. But not having that leadoff spot, it's definitely going to hurt us in the long run.
Yeah.
So,
well, we'll see, my friend. It's going to be a fun week for sure. Skyline, I appreciate you. Hey, it feels good to be 8-0 no matter what. So
I think we're 12-0.
I love it. Fingers crossed. I hope you're right, my friend.
All right. Have a good day.
All right, Skyline, I appreciate you. Great stuff. Great stuff by Skyline, guys. We are going to jump into a quick break. How about this? The spring game, it is officially official. South Carolina spring game will take place. We already knew April the 15th, but it will be a night spring game yet again, 7 o'clock under the lights at Williams-Brice Stadium. How about that? Gamecocks spring game is under the lights yet again. Going to be one hell of a time. Guys, that being said, let's go ahead and jump into a quick break. On the other side, more of your questions, your comments, your calls, and more. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. All right, guys, we're back. Taking your questions, comments, calls. 843-790-3377. That is 843-790-3377. And give credit to Above Average Gamecocks, a.k.a. our guy P-Dog, who actually called it spring game at 7 o'clock. Spring game, yep, in case you missed it, nighttime spring game yet again at Williams-Brice Stadium, April the 15th. April the 15th. South Carolina spring game. Under the lights yet again. Really excited. I'm feeling another live stream watch-along incoming. Yeah, guys, in case you're wondering, I mean, I think that and I know that just my mentality on going to games and really more so game day as a whole and the way that I attack it content-wise has just changed. It's changed a lot. So, yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, but really exciting stuff. Under the lights, it was a blast last year at Williams-Brice Stadium, hanging out in regards to going to the game and hanging with you guys. So, we'll see what happens. We'll see what we do. Let's jump back into your questions, your comments. Austin Greer, Cox baseball in 2023 had shades of 21 and 22 in terms of hitting. Austin, I'll say this because yesterday, you're correct. I mean, you're correct. Yesterday was shades of last year, the year prior, no doubt, the lack of situational hitting, if you will. I mean, I'll say this, Austin, you may notice I'm not anointing this season one way or the other. Like, I'm not sitting here on this Monday telling you all, book your tickets to Omaha. We're going, right? This team is so much better than any of us could have projected. I'm also not going to overreact to one game and say, well, our situational hitting's trash. We're not going to hit worth a damn this year. That game shows it. The fact of the matter is this: we found a way to win a baseball game. That's it. We found a way to sweep a really good Penn team. And I'm not trying to crown Penn. I'm not saying they'd win the SEC, but that was a quality opponent. That was a quality team. Austin, to your point, is this going to be the same as what we saw in 2021 and 2022 in regards to the lack of situational hitting, sort of a feast or famine approach? Only time will tell. Only time will tell. I think there's arguments against that. I think there's arguments to support that. But we're not going to know until it happens because baseball is a long season. I mean, you're just going to have a game. Even the best of the best, Tennessee last year, you're going to have a game where you don't swing it well. You're going to have a game where you're off offensively. You're going to have a game where you're off on the bump. You're going to have a game where you don't play well in the field. Can you win anyway? That's the difference. That's what you want to see. So to see this team yesterday, combat the adversity, right? You left all those runners on base. You continuously left the bases loaded. You didn't get down on yourself, right? Those guys in the dugout didn't hang their heads and say, well, woe was me. Well, at least we took 2 out of 3. No big deal. They kept fighting. Win anyway was the approach. You hit those back-to-back homers. And so to find a way to win, especially guys, I don't want to overreact again to winning on a Sunday against Pennsylvania. I don't want to overreact to sweeping an Ivy League team. But I really do feel the difference between a good team and a potentially above average or great team is being able to win on Sunday. To being able to, especially when you win those first 2, not leaving that third game out there, right? Being able to shut the door and go out there on Sunday and approach that thing with the right attitude and right mentality. Because, hey, you've already won the series. We won the series. They're going to pat us on the back. We won the series. Who gives a damn? To not have that attitude, and go out there and take care of business and do it the right way and find a way to win, that's what's most impressive. That's what's most impressive to me. So, hey, we will see. This situation, maybe lack of situational hitting is a thing for us this year, and it rears its ugly head in SEC play. We're not going to know until we get there, right? But as long as you're continuing to find ways to win ball games, I mean, Austin, that's all that really matters. That's all that really matters. I know you'd agree as well. Yeah, it's North Carolina A&T. Austin says North Carolina A&T is not a walkover either. It could be tough. I'm not really expecting that. I think it'll be a very fun day for our offense. I'll put it that way. I think we're going to swing the bats very, very well. Very well. So, anyways, guys, 843-790-3377. Freddie Kitchens in North Carolina. How are we feeling about that? Freddie Kitchens headed over to UNC as the tight ends coach. Chase Floyd also makes a great point. Clem Sucks went 15-0 last year or something like that before their season completely fell apart, so we can't fall into that like they did. Chase, that's a great point. I mean, that's a fantastic point. I think it just goes to show that, I mean, listen, you want to start off hot. You do. You want to start off hot. But it's, again, as you sit here 8-0, we're not book the flights to Omaha. We're going. I'm not going to come into this Monday with that energy for sure. But, I mean, I'm happy. I'm happy to be 8-0. I mean, you should be too. We should all be happy to be 8-0. But I think that's why you haven't seen the movement in the rankings like we'd all prefer. Now, I will say this. I would have moved South Carolina up from 23. D1Baseball.com drops their top 25. The Gamecocks stay at 23. I would have moved Carolina up. I mean, listen, you're 8-0. You just swept a quality team, I think. I think you swept a quality team. I do. I think Penn is going to be a force this year. But, I mean, it is what it is. I get it. Listen, I get it. They're not going to really take you seriously until, let's say, you go win 2 out of 3 or you sweep this weekend, and then you get an SEC play. But I'll tell you this. There's a very good chance that South Carolina will go into SEC play with a very good record. I'm talking about losing maybe 2 or 3 games max, because you got North Carolina A&T. You got North Carolina A&T in the midweek. You should win that game. You got Clem Sucks for 3. Then you got the Citadel next Tuesday and USC Upstate Wednesday. Those will be 2 good ball games. I will say that. I could see the first midweek loss coming against USC Upstate. That game's actually at Floor Field. I could see that happen. I could see that. USC Upstate's a very good ball club. Give them credit. Then you got Bethune-Cookman. That should be a sweep, guys. That should be a sweep. Then you got Presbyterian the following Tuesday. That should be a win yet again. And you've got the pitching depth. I think you can expect to win every midweek game. Then you go into SEC play. So, I mean, there's a good chance you are going to feature a very nice, a very attractive record as you enter an SEC play, which will take place Friday, Saturday, Sunday, March 17th, 18th, 19th, St. Patty's Day weekend, by the way, in Athens against the Georgia Bulldogs. So, TaylorMade, we play no one until Clem Sucks. I would disagree, TaylorMade. I think Penn's a quality team. Penn is a quality team. Jonathan Hall, I will not be at any of the games this weekend. No, I will not be. We are doing live stream watch-alongs for all 3 of the games. I will not venture to any of the games this weekend. We'll be in the studio, plugged in, making content, and looking forward to it. Very excited. Very excited for the value add. Very excited for the value add that's going to bring to fans on game day, that's going to bring to our content, which is really what it's all about for me and for us. It's all about the end consumer, and again, bringing more value. And it's not even debatable that I can create content at a much higher level, being in the studio, being plugged in, watching the game on TV, and doing live streaming and being on my phone, stuff like that. So no, I will not be at any of the games this weekend. No. Nope, I will not. TaylorMade says not really. Well, I mean, TaylorMade, we can disagree. That's fine. But if you really look at baseball, and if you really know baseball, and you look at last year and what they did, and you look at the arms that they trotted out there, TaylorMade, at minimum, you look at the arms they trotted out there. You look at it. I mean, and TaylorMade, go look at the guys on their roster currently that are going. I mean, they had one pitcher that's going to Virginia Tech next year, another that's going to Duke. I mean, they've got dudes. Wyatt Hensler you could plug him in any SEC lineup. 3rd-team All-American last year. Ben Miller kid could be in any SEC lineup. They're pretty good. I mean, I think they're pretty good. And TaylorMade, even if you want to make that argument, other teams across the country are losing games. Other teams, I mean, Arkansas just lost 2 of 3 to freaking my God, Eastern Illinois, who we played in football 2 years ago, right? They lost to EIU. So other teams are losing. So I'm not sitting here saying crown us because we beat Penn, but that was a nice series sweep. So that was a nice series sweep. I mean, you got to give credit where credit's due, because if we'd have lost 2 or 3, we'd have been damning this team into oblivion. So I think you got to give at least some credit for taking care of business. You do. Andrew, the textbook, I think it's possible South Carolina 16-1 heading into SEC play. I don't think they will sweep Clem Sucks, but I think they will take 2 out of 3, which would be a success. I mean, we'd all like to see the sweep, but yeah. Jocelyn, what's going on, Jocelyn? I got to get to you about the merch stuff. Yeah, it's been a busy over here. I got to get to you about the merch stuff. Jonathan Hall, having a tailgate. See if you want to come by, have some cold drinks, some good food off the grill. I appreciate it. Thank you for the offer. I see C&T Sports Talk. I'm actually jumping on, by the way, with what is it? Nachos Analysis or Nachos and Analysis which is a Clem Sucks podcast. I'm jumping on with them on Wednesday. I think that show will drop Thursday for them, but we're jumping on. We're talking some South Carolina Clem Sucks. Also, for those of you who know college baseball, we got Mike Rooney jumping on the podcast on Wednesday afternoon. That will be featured on the pod on Thursday. So really excited. He does a great job with D1Baseball.com, been featured on SEC Network and all that good stuff, covers SEC baseball, covers college baseball as a whole. Really excited to chat with Mike Rooney, but I appreciate the offer. I appreciate the offer, Jonathan Hall, CNT. I appreciate it. It is great to, I like the people on social media that can just take a joke. So it's nice to congregate with folks that, that love college baseball, that love the South Carolina Clem Sucks rivalry. However, I've already planned the live stream watch-alongs. That's how we're going to operate this weekend. Let's jump to the phone lines here.
Robbie Davis, Zaxby Hall of Famer.
Hold on. Robbie, hey, call back in 2 minutes. Let me fix the audio real quick because for some reason it's really muffled. I apologize.
No problem.
Yeah, just call me back in like literally a minute. I just got to take this out and replug it in. I appreciate you, Robbie. I'm going to meet you guys for just a Okay, there we go. Robbie Davis, call back in. My apologies. Whenever we went to break, I posted the graphic for the spring game. I think it just kind of messed with the audio. So, Robbie, call back in. 843-790-3377. Jonathan Hall. I'm a Tigers fan, Chris, as you know, but damn, UCF just got away from us. They're solid. I think Backage is a few years away with Clem Sucks being back to being contenders. I like Backage. I think Backage is a good coach. But, yeah, UCF, that was a tough weekend. Let's jump to the phone lines here.
Call from
Robbie Davis, Zaxby Hall of Famer.
There we go. Robbie Davis, what's going on, my friend? How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing on this Monday?
I'm doing great, man. Victory Monday, spring games at night. Got an exciting week. SEC tournament gets going this week. It's when I say content bleeding out the eyeballs, my friend, this is a fantastic week for it. We got so much going on and just excited to get after it, my friend, and great to hear from you.
Thank you. First things first, congrats to the as Boston called them, the freshies. Okay, congrats to the freshies for taking care of business yesterday in their senior day. All right, it wasn't pretty, it wasn't a blowout, but we won the ball game anyways, and that's all that matters. Okay, so congrats to the Lady Gamecocks on beating Georgia yesterday. Shocker, not really. We kind of knew that was going to happen. It was senior day, plus it was in Cola. So I really wasn't worried. But anywho, let's get to the meat and taters. It was not the weekend that I was expecting, but you know what? Like you said before I called in, right? We won the ball game anyways. That's all that matters. We won the series anyway. By hook or by crook, we won the ball game anyway. We won the series. We swept. Who could play? I'm having a brain fart.
Pennsylvania.
Anywho,
Pennsylvania Quakers from the Ivy League.
We swept Penn. Okay, we swept Penn. We took care of business, and I am telling you right now, if we have times where we leave the bases loaded this coming weekend, it could seriously hurt us.
That is a fact, Robbie. You are absolutely correct.
Our pitching saved our keisters yesterday. Okay, our pitching saved our keisters yesterday. All right.
And you know what? Hey, listen. Sometimes you're going to have a weekend where you score 49 runs in a weekend, and other times you're going to have a weekend where you score. What did we score? We scored 7, 8, 14 runs in a weekend. And guess what? Sometimes your bats pick up your pitchers. Sometimes
John
your
Edwards,
pitchers.
spell my name right if you're going to spell my name, okay? Just spell my name right if you're going to spell my name, okay? It's Robbie, not with a Y. You bunch of idiots don't know how to spell my name. All right?
Gamecock on Gamecock crime. Gamecock on Gamecock crime.
No. See, spell my name correctly if you're going to spell it. Do not spell it wrong. I will get on to you, and I do not give a darn.
I love it. Listen, I love it.
But trust me, I've gotten to the point now. If I go to a restaurant and they ask for my name, I literally spell out my name so they don't mess it up, because that's happened before. But anyways, I ain't gonna lie to you. Yesterday, while watching the game, I got scared a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I thought, oh no, this is not good. I was like, this is gonna be almost like last year, where we just don't have timely hitting, and then next thing you know, we hit back-to-back homers to go up 6-5. So we won. That's great. Now we just put that's behind us. Now let's get ready for, who do we play tomorrow anyways? Do we play tomorrow and Wednesday? Or no?
Yes, we play North Carolina A&T tomorrow.
Okay, that should definitely be a W. No offense to North Carolina A&T, but that definitely should be a dub.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd be
That should be a W.
I'd be pretty surprised if it wasn't. I got to be honest with you. Let's see. A&T, they are 3-4. Actually swept their opening series. They beat the University of Maryland Eastern Shore. Since then, they have lost. Okay, so they've lost 4 in a row. Losers to Davidson 15-1. And then this past weekend got swept by.
I know a lot about baseball, Mr. Chase Ovan, or however you say your last name. I don't even give a damn. I do know I know baseball. Trust me, okay? I may not have been good at it, but I know baseball. All right. If you can't take the heat, stay out of the kitchen. I can fight back. Don't mess with me.
Anyways, they got swept by Appalachian State. Scores of 12-8, 9-8, and 11-7. So I mean, they got a little thump. They got a little thump. Scored 23 runs against App State in a 3-game series, but I think it's definitely one you expect to win for sure.
Yeah, and I honestly think we're gonna win tomorrow. Obviously, convincingly. I think we're gonna prove a point. And I do know who we're playing this weekend. We're playing that god awful team in the upstate known as Clem Sucks. Okay. It's on Chris's hat. It says Clem Sucks because y'all suck. Okay? And we're going to prove it this weekend by breaking out the broom and kicking some Clemson ass. Okay?
I am officially ready to run through a brick wall. Facts.
We're going to kick some Clemson ass, prove a point that the best baseball team in South Carolina is in the capital city. Okay? That's what we're going to prove. We're going to take care of some business. And that's that. I'm so confident. I'm not going to give you a prediction yet. Okay, I'm gonna wait till Thursday to give you a prediction for the whole weekend.
I love that.
I'm going. I think it's it's pretty obvious that if we just stay focused, control what we can control, and just take care of business and just win. I don't care how it happens, just win.
Just win, baby, win. Al Davis said it best. Just win, baby, win.
Just win, baby. Just win. Yes, indeed. For sure. Take care of some business, prove a point, and let the chips fall where they may.
As our guy Cody Gaskins would say, stand on business. Indeed. Yeah.
Stand on business. Stand on business. Take care of some business. And go get that paycheck, aka the W.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun weekend, Robbie, for sure. I'm ecstatic. Hopefully, I hope you'll tune in to the live stream. It's gonna be a good time.
Oh, for sure, I will. Don't worry, I will. Unless I decide to watch them anywhere else. But
well, see, that's the thing. That's what you do. You watch the game wherever, then you have us pulled up on your phone. So you kind of, because obviously I'm not going to have. So the live stream watch along, for anybody who doesn't understand, I'm not going to have the game on because that's illegal. Yeah. So it's literally, and I know for illegal. Some it may sound silly, but it's literally just going to be you watching yours truly watch the game. That's it. So
wants me to hang up, but you know what? Just for that, I don't know if you're a Clemson fan or not, but just in case, Clemson sucks. Okay, they suck. They're garbage. 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 Stinky garbage. People hating on me today, man. What's the problem?
It's Carolina Clem sucks week, man. This is truly
Good
one
point.
of
That's a
those,
good point.
Robbie, to echo your own words back to you. This is truly, if you cannot handle the heat, stay out of the kitchen type of weeks. That's what this is.
Oh yeah. That's okay. That's all right. No worries. It's all good. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and get off of here. I'll have my predictions ready to go for Thursday. Have a great rest of your day. And even all the meanies in the live chat, I hope y'all have a great day as well. But I hope whenever you go to Chick-fil-A, your chicken's burnt and nasty. All right. Go to Zaxby's. All right. Go to Zaxby's if you want some good chicken.
I love that. Robbie, you're the man. Appreciate you.
All right, buddy. Have a good one.
Yeah, man. Take care. Great stuff. Robbie Davis, what a legend he is. What a legend. Robbie, I will say you this, though, and I know Robbie's still tuned in. So I caution Robbie Davis. Listen, I'll be very, very honest with my feedback, right? In regards to everything, whether it be Gamecock Sports, but also our callers, right? I caution Robbie Davis just a bit, right? One of the reasons that Rebecca does not call in much of anymore is because what happened. And really, if we did a documentary on the on the downfall, not that Rebecca's had a downfall, but callers that call in and are actively reading their own comments and reading the comments and responding to comments while on the call. It's like, call in, get the point across, and get off the line. I love Robbie. I'm not telling Robbie not to call in or shorten his calls at all. I'm just saying. I'm just making a point. Anyways, 843-790-3377, guys. I will give my prediction for this weekend series on Thursday. Thursday, we'll have the prediction. Again, I don't want to look past tomorrow. You got the midweek. You play North Carolina A&T. It'll, be a good game, a great opportunity for South Carolina to shore up some things, I think, offensively, and, to have a bounce back performance, if you will. It's weird to say bounce back after you sweep, but I just think to get it going again offensively. And I tell you what, Clem Sucks got a really interesting one tomorrow. That game at Floor Field against USC Upstate, who is a very quality ball club. A very quality ball club indeed. So I think it'll be very interesting if they can bounce back. They desperately, Clem Sucks desperately needs to bounce back. They need some sort of confidence going into the weekend for sure. Anyways, guys, really appreciate you all tuning in. A great weekend, right? A great weekend. South Carolina gets the sweeper pin. How about Dawn Staley's team? Like, I take it for granted. I know a lot of us do, right? Because we're like, hey, South Carolina, we're number one. We're better than everybody else. And we are. Got the best roster, best players, best coach, everything. Better than everybody in women's college basketball. But like, when you think about it, to go undefeated in a regular season, where you have the target on your back, everybody's gunning for you. You're unanimous number one. Everybody's coming at you. You're getting everybody's best shot, and you still are able to go undefeated. That's special. That is special. I think we got to give a lot of credit to Dawn Staley, her team. What a regular season. And now, on to the postseason. Let's jump to the phone lines here.
Call from
Justin.
Justin, what's going on, my friend? How are you?
Doing good. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing fantastic. Appreciate you asking what's going on.
I talked to you for a while,
You said what? Oh, yeah, it has been a while. No, it has been a while, my friend. How you been?
And do other things,
I hear you, man. Hey, life gets busy. I totally understand.
Yeah, and Chris, I was talking about the women yesterday because I got we're undefeated because that's a big compliment,
Yeah, it's a heck of an accomplishment, man. It really is. I understand again that we're the favorites and we're supposed to go undefeated, but to show up game after game after game and not get comfortable and not rest on your laurels. And, you know, I think it's special. I mean, I think it's special. And I think you got to give a lot of credit, obviously. And, you know, so kudos to that team. And now the real work begins, you could say. Now the real work begins as the Gamecocks begin postseason play.
Yeah, it is. They actually told me to start soon, and it's not easy, but we can do it. But Chris, those SEC teams are tough too, aren't they?
Yeah, no, for sure. It's Friday at noon is when it'll get going. So looking forward to it, man. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah, me too, Chris. And Chris, I was talking about the baseball team too. They're undefeated too. That's good. That's a good country right there, you know.
Yeah, no, we look good so far, man. I mean, again, like I said, it's so far so good. And as the competition gets better and better, you know, we'll kind of just figure out who we really are. But no, I think we're a good ball club, man. I do. I think we're a good ball club. And
oh yeah,
I still feel pretty confident in my predictions that I had in the preseason. I think I had us at a 34-22 team, 15-15 in SEC play. I could see us having 36 or 37 wins because of the non-conference success. I think we're about a 15-15 ball club still, maybe a little bit better. Maybe we're a 16-14 or a 17-13, but I just think that, you know, I think the hitting's going to come and go, but the pitching is going to be a constant. The pitching will be consistent. You know, I think we'll be able to ride our pitching to a really, really good year.
Yeah, I agree, Chris. Chris, you know, we haven't played nobody yet, but we got to be ready for these big games soon, you know.
Well, I mean, again, like I said, you say we played nobody. I mean, I think you got to give a lot of credit to Penn. I think Penn's a quality opponent. I'm not saying they're Tennessee. I'm not saying they're LSU. I'm not saying they're, you know, they're elite or anything, but that's a quality ball club. Absolutely. So Penn would give a lot of teams trouble in a non-conference series. I really believe that. So, you know, listen, you play who's on your schedule. There's a lot of baseball teams out there. Hey, there's only 13 teams that are undefeated right now, and South Carolina is one of them. So, you know, you got to give credit. You got to give credit for taking care of business.
Oh yeah, Chris, I agree. Hey Chris, who's undefeated in baseball player? Because I don't keep up, you know.
You said what now?
Who's undefeated in the SC baseball team? Because I know soccer is undefeated, but I can't remember who else is undefeated.
Yeah, so the other teams that are undefeated, let's see. Our friends over at 11.7 posted the graphic. Wake Forest, NC State, Georgia Tech, Virginia, Dallas Baptist, Texas Tech, Morehead State, Appalachian State, Alabama, South Carolina, Troy, Lamar, and this last one, I got to be honest with you, and San Diego, and there's one more that I don't – Cal State Northridge is the last team. Cal State Northridge. 13 – so I think there's actually 3, 6, 9 – I think there's actually 14 teams that are undefeated. So –
wow. Hey, Chris, I never heard these teams before, you know?
You said, yeah, so, I mean, there's some smaller teams out there undefeated, but you've heard of a lot of them. But, yeah, South Carolina, there's 305 teams in college baseball. 14 teams remain undefeated. So that's special. That's a hell of a feat.
Yeah, Chris, that's a good cuss right there. But, Chris, I don't know all these sports teams you go to say, could they? And they wanted to, right?
Right.
That's something right there. Yeah, and Chris, before I get out here, man, I'm not worried about Fred Kitchens. I know. Look at Fred Kitchens, Chris. He called no plays last season, you know.
Talking about who now?
Fred Kitchens.
Oh, Freddie Kitchens. Yeah, going to UNC. That's you know, I don't think Kitchens wanted to be an analyst forever. So, you know, going from NFL head coach to analyst. But it is interesting that he's going to North Carolina. It is very interesting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And Chris, about Fred Kitchens, you gotta look at Fred Kitchens. He was just watching the team how to perform, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, and I think you look at Kitchens. I mean, I think Kitchens had a lot to do with the offense resurging the last couple of games. So, I mean, it's a loss. I mean, he's not the OC, though. You know what I mean? I think you completely turn the page on the offensive side. And, you know, it's, you know, I think we'll be fine. But, you know, losing Kitchens, wish him nothing but the best.
Yeah, and Chris, I mean, I didn't want to go, but you know, think about him. It was time, you know, because let me go swear a little different, you know.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, man, Kitchens didn't want to be an analyst forever. So
Yeah, and Chris, we got NorCal next season, right?
opening this season, yes, this fall, yeah, we open up with UNC. That's why I said it's really interesting that he's going there. So, yeah, best to get him out before spring ball, and we start installing our offense, and you know, he gets insight into what we're doing. So
Oh yeah, and Chris, it's interesting that everybody's moving around. You know, these assistant coaches. You know.
it's that time of year, man. Guys just trying to get jobs and get paid. So
Yep. And Chris, and you know who got a mess going down there? It's Florida. You know.
you love college football, don't you, Justin? You love college
Oh
football.
yes.
Yeah. You follow college football like very closely, which I respect. You follow it closely. Yeah, Florida's dealing with some stuff too. That's I think that's definitely a game you look at and say we should win. But yeah. Nah, Florida's got a slew of their own problems. There's no doubt. No doubt.
Yeah. And Chris, we see Florida leave. We see six coaches leave before to the NFL. That's to tell you a lot. You know.
Mm-hmm. That does say a lot indeed.
Yeah. And Chris, I don't know being that pissed the white guy before. We don't even know he's the guy. You know.
Talking about Billy Napier?
Yeah.
Only time will tell. Only time will tell. I will say this, though. That's not a patient fan base. So I think if he's not winning double-digit games by year 4, I think he's going. They're not going to give him a lot of time.
I agree.
Florida's not a place, again, where patience is a thing. They want to win now. They expect to win. They expect to win championships, especially with how Florida State's rising up now. So, yeah, I don't they're not going to give Billy Napier a ton of time to figure it out.
Yeah, I agree, Chris. And you know you don't have.
Well, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, Chris, that's all I said, man. Have a good one.
Yeah, Justin, you're the man. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for the call.
You're a good Gamecock.
Go Gamecocks. Appreciate you, Justin. Great stuff from our friend Justin. And, yeah, I mean, it's, you know, we'll see what will happen with Florida. Yeah. And, Jeff, maybe year 3. I think you're actually right there. I think if they're not winning double-digit games after year 3, he might be gone, which is crazy to think, but it's Florida. So, guys, we're going to jump into another break. On the side, I want to continue to hear from you. More your questions, comments, calls, and more. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. All right, guys, we're back. Taking your questions, comments, calls. 843-790-3377. That is 843-790-3377 here on this Monday, February the 27th, 2023. Guys, a couple quick content updates as we go into a really, really busy week. Podcast, of course, operating as normal, dropping as normal. Y'all know the drill there. With the Daily Crow, normal until Friday. Right? I thought about no show on Friday due to the fact that the women's basketball team will be playing at noon in their first game of the SEC tournament. So I'm obviously not going to do TDC during the game. And we've got the live stream watch along upcoming that night as well. However, me not doing this show is like a fish not swimming. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So what we're going to do is this. 10 to 12. The Daily Crow will take place on Friday. So we're going to rock it Friday morning. Really excited to do that. It's going to be a really, really busy day on Friday because we'll have TDC 10 to 12. Women's basketball will tip off at noon. Baseball is scheduled at least for a 6 o'clock first pitch. I've got my fingers crossed that that's going to be happening. I would hate to see that game either delayed or I just don't see a way they cancel it. I don't see any way that happens. You'd hate to see that take place. Either way, though, looking forward to it. Going to be a lot of fun. So, again, TDC podcast happening every single day this week with TDC on Friday, 10 to 12. And, of course, guys, I already told you, the live stream watch-alongs that we will be doing on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday will take place basically when the games start. We'll probably start the live stream about 5 minutes before first pitch. Looking forward to it. Those are going to be a lot of fun. David says in the Big Cock Club Discord, what's your take on the series this weekend? Who do you think are the hitters that need to be the main contributors to win this weekend? Well, David, we're looking way too far ahead. I understand why, though, but, all of them. David, I don't know that there's one guy that needs to go off versus another. Obviously, you look towards your leader, Braylon Wimmer. I think Wimmer having a big weekend is key. I think you look at Petrie, the freshman, staying hot. Your big transfer veteran guys, Caleb Denny, Will McGillis, Gavin Cassis. Those guys are very important. So I don't think there's one guy, David. Baseball is such a team game. It's not just one guy you look at and say, well, that guy needs to be hot all weekend for us to have a chance. We need them all to play well. We need them all to swing it well. Jonathan Hall, Chris, how do you think Clem Sucks is going to welcome Monty Lee on Friday and other former Tigers? It could be ugly for Brewer out there in right field with cheap seats in the Cajun Cafe. Well, Jonathan, I don't think Dylan Brewer's going to have to worry about it because I don't think Dylan Brewer's going to play. I don't think Dylan Brewer's going to start or play at all. How's it going to be for Monty? He's going to be in the dugout the entire time. So I don't expect much. What's interesting, Jonathan Hall, about that is that, when that all took place, when all the transfers happened and, when the transfers happened, and Monty Lee came over, I thought to myself, that was the first thing, like, God, this year's rivalry series is going to be crazy. It's going to be weird, what have you. And certainly still that will be a dynamic, but I don't know that it plays as much a role as I once thought it would. Ricky Williams is out for the year. He will not pitch. Dylan Brewer, I don't think is going to play, guys. I don't think Dylan Brewer much has a spot anymore. And then so Jonathan French, I could see him getting some pinch hit opportunities maybe. Right? So maybe you see him Friday or maybe you see him throughout the weekend. And then Monty Lee is going to be in the dugout the entire time. Certainly it's still a storyline, Jonathan Hall, but I just don't know that it's like the top storyline anymore. I just don't, it'd be different, like you mentioned, if Dylan Brewer was starting, but I don't think he's even going to play. I'd be surprised if he did, honestly. Let's jump to the phone lines here.
Call from
Scotty, what's up, man? How are you?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Appreciate you asking. What's going on?
Man, I got to see. You going to let me break the news? It just hit. Literally, I just got the notification.
The spring game, I'm imagining. Is that what you're talking about?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Yes, we've already, we actually just posted the graphic a little bit ago, but yeah, April 15th at 7 o'clock. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, man. It's going to be a lot of fun.
I'm glad to see that they're getting it back. Those are always like those better because, the home games at night. Game at night just adds a little more to it. So glad to see that happen and glad to see that in the works.
I mean, yeah, it was a huge success last year, man. So I think it's a no-brainer. I mean, why not? It's something where, we control the time, right? It has nothing to do with TV or anything. So I think it was a no-brainer for sure, and I'm glad to see it return, man. I just think it's a great way to advertise your program and put your program out there, if you will. So it's a cool thing. It's a cool thing.
Definitely. Man, I was sitting there. I gotta be honest with you. So I was at the baseball game Wednesday against Queens, and dude, I tell you one thing. It seems like the whole culture of that situation, just around the baseball program, is changing, going in the right direction. I know we started off hot, but I mean, it's glad to see it coming back to what it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, 2010, 11, and 12. I was like 7, 8, and 9 years old. So, I mean, I can't really speak on the terms of back then. I don't really remember much other than just, watching us win on TV and thinking it was like the coolest moment of my life. But it's glad to see those, memories and everything and just the dynamic of the program starting to change and going in stuff in the right direction. Back to what it used to be. But, and this weekend was challenging in my mind. I think Penn, I got to be honest with you, just after the series, with the arms that Penn has, and I ain't going to be shocked to see them in a regional. By no means. I would not be shocked to see them in the regional, just in general, wherever. But it was a really good team. I think it was a really great, competition test for us just at the beginning of the season. But I'm glad we pulled them out. Like, I know my concern going into the season was we were definitely going to have the starters to get us, hopefully 5, maybe 6 innings. But was our bats going to compete in those close games? And I think as far as this weekend, the answer to the question was the best answer. The bats kept rolling. But, man, when we get into, like, serious competition, I mean, of course, it's baseball. You're going to drop some of those games. But it was glad to see them fight and to keep going and keep, wanting the edge and finally getting it. I mean, that was probably the biggest thing to me was seeing them do that.
Yeah, and I tell you this, Scotty, it's interesting because I'm thinking back, you were talking about 10, 11, 12, what have you, but I think specifically that 2010 team. And you just never know. You just never know this early in the season. You don't, right? Because we sit here 8-0. Hey, this could end up being a 30-win season, and we go 13-17 in SEC play, and we're looking for a new head coach. This could go, we could be a 40-win team and be in Omaha. I mean, you don't know at this point in the year because I think back to 2010. Right, 11 we knew. 2011 we knew, right? That was, you were coming off the national championship. You returned the nucleus of your team, and you were dominant from the start. And the national championship wasn't just the goal, it was the expectation. But you think of 2010. I mean, that team lost 2 of 3 to East Carolina early in the season, who was a good team, but I don't think they were quite the program they are right now. So you lose 2 of 3 to ECU. Then you lose 2 of 3 to Clem Sucks, and you get blasted in the Sunday game at home like 19-6. Nobody at that point would have probably gone on record and said, hey, this team, by the way, is going to win the national championship. They just got hot, and it just came together, and that team, those legends, they weren't always legends. They became legends. So, obviously we all, and I guess that's the beauty of baseball is you just never know. And so we all hope that'll be the same fate with this group of guys. And so all we can go off of is the latest information or the latest results we have, which is the series sweep over Penn. So to your point, though, I mean, I said it earlier in the show. I mean, when you look at the pitching staff, this is a Omaha pitching staff. Everybody stays healthy, and, dude, it's an Omaha pitching staff. We got arms on arms on arms. And that's why I said in the preseason and why we all agreed that, dude, if you just hit average. If you're slightly above average, you're winning 40 games. If you just hit average, you got a chance to go far because of your pitching and an improved defense. And again, I feel more confident that the adjustments will come for this group because it is a group of veteran hitters. I like to think that the lack of situational hitting, it will not be something so persistent. Is it going to happen again, bro? It's baseball. We're going to have another game where we're not able to drive guys in for whatever reason. And it'll be just as frustrating as it was yesterday. But in those days, in those games, are we able to rely on our arms and steal one? I mean, yesterday we stole one, dude. We didn't deserve to win, if you want my honest opinion. But who gives a damn? We stole the game. That's what it's all about. Steal them, right? They count just the same. That 6-5 win, stealing it late, counts just the same as winning 19-3. Counts just the same. So just finding a way to win, man. Again, that's why I said win anyway. You know what I mean? They all add up, and the chase to 40 wins. You need games like yesterday. You need them. You need to be able to steal them and come out on the right side. And so it's encouraging signs early for sure. And it's a type of game too. It's a type of series that tests you, and it builds your character up, and it builds you as a ball club. And the same way that a 19-3 win is important, and that the offensive explosions are important, winning a 1-0 game is important. Winning a one-run game is important. Winning close ball games, winning a game where you have to come from behind is important. So, I think it's something that'll only help and assist this ball club down the road. And obviously there's corrections that need to be made. I mean, that's baseball, right? You make daily adjustments. You make adjustments pitch by pitch. The best do. So a lot of encouraging signs for sure. And you sit here 8-0, and I think we're all, I'm not sitting here telling you to book the flights to Omaha, but I do feel good about where we are and where we're headed.
Definitely, man. I was at Upstate all weekend. Dude, they are a very, very young group. They don't look to have much like they normally do. And after Clemson getting swept, and if Clemson don't win Tuesday, they're in a rude awakening for this weekend. I mean, I'm just going to give you my honest opinion on that one.
Well, they were undefeated at one point. They were undefeated at one point, but I think they dropped 2 of their 3 games this past weekend.
Yeah. They've got some good starter arms. When you get inside their bullpen, man, you just if you can force that starter out of the game and get into their bullpen, you forget the game, if that makes any sense. So I think it's a big test for Clemson this week on Tuesday, especially coming into us, just because we are hot right now. But I don't know. We'll see. I think this weekend is going to be interesting, honestly. I mean, I don't want everybody coming at me when I say this, but I do think we possibly, more than likely, are going to drop one. I think we win the series, but
listen, we're gonna lose a game eventually. I mean, we are gonna lose. We are gonna lose, and the worst thing I think you can do in baseball, honestly, is overreact. Again, you just can't take. We've talked about it a lot. You can't take the football mindset to it, right? Where Clemson lost all 3. Right. And South Carolina won all 3. That doesn't mean South Carolina is going to beat Clemson all 3 games. Right. I think there's a reason. I think it could happen. I think it absolutely could. But, how do they bounce back? How do we respond to being undefeated? There's just so much that goes into it, man. It's such a random game. So, I think certainly we could drop one on a pin. It wouldn't. We could have, no doubt. So it could happen. But I think at minimum we should take 2 of 3. I mean, I just look at the pitching and the advantage there, and this group of veteran hitters and Clemson's struggles. It would be, I don't want to look past the midweek again, but we can't help but look ahead to the weekend. It would be, I don't even think disappointing does justice to what it would be if you lost this series. It would be inexcusable is what it would really be. It'd be inexcusable.
Well, I got to ask you, so I know Veach, if I'm pronouncing that right, with a V.
Chris Veach. Yeah.
Yep. But where do you see Cade Austin and him kind of battling back and forth as far as the closer position? Where do you see that going, in the future?
Well, they tend to like Veach in that spot. That's a great point. I'm glad you bring that up, Scotty. And it's a big, again, for the baseball diehards who are following along every single pitch like we are. That's a big storyline right now, I think, for this ball club in regards to, figuring out who your closer is. I think Chris Veach looks natural there. I think he looks good in that spot. He's got closer experience when he was at PC, and the stuff is really good. You can tell when he's out there, he's got that mindset, that mentality where, he's just got that dog, dude. He's just going after him every single pitch. So I think he's good in that spot right now. I think Cade Austin, it looks like, is first out of the bullpen. How do you continue to use Matthew Becker? He gets the save on Saturday. The good news is this. You got a bunch of different guys who can do different things. So I think you continue to ride with Chris Veach early on in the season. And if there's, if issues arise, if you will, maybe you can try some different guys there. But, as long as it's working, I think you go with Veach. I mean, I think, it wasn't by accident they used him in that closer spot twice. You know what I mean? So I think Cade Austin is going to be your more so, I think he's your 7th or 8th inning guy. I think he's your first out of the bullpen type of dude. And, I think you're going to continue to see Jerzenbeck pitch on the weekends. I think you're going to see James Hicks pitch on the weekends. You've got other guys, Nick Proctor, that you can use, Brett Thomas that you can use. So, you've got options. You certainly do not have a lack of options when it comes to quality bullpen arms.
Yeah, I was gonna say Hicks looked really, really good Wednesday.
Yeah, dude, Hicks is it's to me, it's almost unfair that he pitches in the midweek. I would assume because Jerzenbeck, appeared on Sunday that James Hicks will indeed get the start tomorrow. But I mean, it's just almost unfair. It's to have a guy like that throwing on a Wednesday. It's crazy, man. It's crazy when you think about it. Or a Tuesday, a midweek, whatever.
Yeah, but I mean, to your point though, that's the place South Carolina baseball should be. Is to where when we go out there on a midweek game, it is completely unfair to who we're playing. That we've got an arm that at most schools could be a starting weekend guy. I mean, that's the way that South Carolina baseball should be. So to have that now, and that's what I'm saying, like earlier, like the dynamic of the program is going up. It's just like every other sport. Dude, I'm telling you, every sport at the University of South Carolina has gone up. Even women's basketball. Even though we won the Natty last year, guess what? We just went undefeated. So I mean, everything is going up and trending up in the right direction that we should be. And I think that's the most exciting part. But I'll let you get off of here. Enjoy your last 15 minutes of the show. But I was just going to jump on here and ask you, about those two things. But it was great talking to you like always. And hey, I said it before when I called in, but just a friendly reminder. We all enjoy what you do, and we thank you for that. So don't give it up.
Scotty, you're the man. I appreciate you, my friend.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. Take care. Great stuff. We'll talk soon. Scotty Griffin, always a pleasure talking with Scotty, talking baseball. Yeah, really, really great stuff. And yeah, I'm excited to see how those roles evolve. And I agree with him. I agree with him in regards to, we should be in a position where we can roll out a guy on a Tuesday night that would pitch on the weekends at other schools. Like we should be at that point. The way you recruit, the way you should recruit at South Carolina, you absolutely should be in that position. So I think he makes a great point there. And yeah, I mean, I think it will be James Hicks that'll get the baseball. I don't think they've announced anything official yet. I don't think so. Let's see. Gamecocks Online did post a baseball notebook. Noah Hall picking up some honors as well today. So Ethan Petrie was named a National Player of the Week by Collegiate Baseball Newspaper. Noah Hall named SEC Co-Pitcher of the Week also. Let's see if it's in the baseball notebook. I doubt it is. Okay, no, it's not. So later today, they will announce who's going to get the start tomorrow, but I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked if it's not James Hicks. Guys, that being said, let's go ahead and jump into one final break. On this side, more of your questions, comments, calls, and more. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. All right, guys, we're back. Final 10 minutes or so in the Daily Crow, taking your questions, comments, calls. 843-790-3377. Great stuff here from at Purple and Gold on Twitter. The Texas Tiger is his name. SEC pitching stats after 2 weekend and 1 midweek slate. So he's got this broken down into starting pitching and relief pitching. So the Gamecocks starting pitching right now, 4th in the SEC with a 3 ERA, 24 innings pitched, 28 hits allowed, 8 earned runs, 8 walks, not bad in 24 innings pitched, 8 walks, 47 strikeouts, and a 1.5 whip. South Carolina's relievers, a lot of consistency. Also 4th again in the SEC, a 3 ERA again, exactly the same. So the staff ERA is 3 right now. 21 innings pitched by the relievers, 15 hits, 7 earned runs, 10 walks, 33 strikeouts, and a 1.1905 whip. And when you look at, again, this makes me want to look at the overall stats for baseball. When you look at the statistics through 8 games, South Carolina, which, by the way, I was incorrect. That made no sense. The bullpen is a 3 ERA. The starters have a 3 ERA. Your total ERA, 1.88 through 8 games. I apologize. That was a slight at the pitching staff. A 1.88 ERA, 3 saves on the season. You've got, let's see. Yeah, 1.88, 8-0, of course. And you've registered, let's see, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. Yep. So let's see, 72 innings pitched, 18 walks in 72 innings. That's pretty damn good. It's pretty damn good. 80 strikeouts in 72 innings pitched. Hitters are hitting just 166 against this Gamecocks pitching staff. You've given up just 2 home runs all season long. All season long. Offensively, hitting 322. So again, like I told you, you need to be hitting 300 or better after non-conference play. You'd like to see that stay at that number at minimum. Hitting 322, 26 home runs at this point, 26 bombs. Here's the really impressive thing. 56 walks, and you've been hit by pitches 31 times. So 87 Gamecocks have reached base via some form of free pass. Also, by the way, how about this? 12 of 12 all in stolen bases, which actually this brings me to a great point, and I'm so glad I looked at the stats. I will say, everybody's going to look at the hitting with runners in scoring position and hitting with 2 outs and hitting with the bases loaded, and the hitting as a whole where their concern lies. And I don't mean to pick on them or anything, but how about South Carolina's catchers? Cole Messina, Talmadge Lecroy. So far, you have not thrown out a base stealer at this point. Opponents are 10 for 10 in stolen bases. That is something to keep an eye on because everybody you play is going to have the scouting report. Everybody will have it. And what they're going to see is if they run, they ain't getting thrown out. They ain't getting thrown out. So, is that going to be a trend for the entire season? Is that going to be an issue to where it's basically an automatic double when a guy gets on first? You hope not, because that could really burn you in SEC play. That could absolutely burn you. So, Travi, appreciate you, man. Have a great rest of your day. Madison Duncan coming in late. Any deals for the Big Cock Clubbers? Madison, if you join the Big Cock Club, you get 20% off all merchandise with our special promo code. So if you like the merch, Madison, it's worth it to join the BCC alone for the merch side of things. It's absolutely worth it. Absolutely. Again, guys, appreciate you all tuning in. The time has flown by today, which is normally the case, man. You guys make this a lot of fun. And I know Scotty Griffin, again, I want to say thank you to Scotty for the kind words. And he said, don't stop rocking, man. It's like asking a fish not to swim, my guy. I love what I do. I love creating content. I love going live and chatting and interacting with each and every single one of you. And it's a blast, man. It's a blast. It's a blast. So I'm really grateful and appreciative for you all that your love, your support, TSUS would not be what it's becoming without it. So thank you all so much, man. I appreciate it. Of course, the big news of the day, South Carolina spring game is officially a night contest under the lights at Williams-Brice Stadium. Really exciting stuff. Looking forward to it. Going to be a big, big time again. Luke RJ says, Chris, the merch is fire today. Clem Sucks hat and the Win Anyway shirt. Thank you, Luke RJ. Thank you. I mean, the Win Anyway shirt, it just felt right. It felt right after the weekend. And, of course, with the week that is Luke RJ, the Clem Sucks hat was a no-brainer. It's an absolute no-brainer, my guys. I appreciate you. Luke RJ, glad you're doing well, my guy. I know you're a big football guy, so I'm glad to see you're still tuned in, even though football is kind of in a hiatus right now and it's basketball and baseball taking center stage. I'm glad to see you, Luke RJ, in the comments. I'm glad to see it. And good to hear from you, my guy. Good to hear from you. Good to hear from you. So, Madison says, I enjoy listening. One day I'll call in and get my first-time caller badge. Yeah, Madison, would love to have you. It's always cool when new folks call in. It is. It is. Because I think what it does, it encourages others to call in, right? It's a cool thing. So definitely highly encourage it. I most certainly highly encourage it and appreciate you. D1baseball.com is doing their top 25 chat right now. I'm very tempted to comment and to say why no movement for the Gamecocks in the top 25? Why no movement? Right? I mean, again, I'm not saying Carolina should jump from 23 to 10th, but I mean, I think we deserve to be a top 20 team the way we're playing right now. But again, I will say I understand. I mean, the you just never know because you look again at last year. You look at last year and Clem Sucks. I mean, they started the season like 15-0 or something like that. Let's see. I'm really curious now what they did. How did they start? I know they started well. I know they started really well. Let's see. Where is their 2022 schedule? Yeah, I mean, look at this. Clem Sucks did not lose a game until March the 13th. Did not lose a game until March the 13th. How about that? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. They started 14-0 last year. They started 14-0 and ended up having a very bad, not a great season. Not a great season. So just because you start hot does not mean you're going to have a great year, but you still want to start out hot for sure. Jeff Gullidge, I still wonder, over under 30,000 at the spring game. I will go over, Jeff. You remember last year though, where we thought it was like 40,000 and we thought it was 40,000. They said it was like 22,000 or something. I don't know. I think it'll be a great crowd either way. I think, why wouldn't you go? As fans, why wouldn't you go to a night Garnet and Black spring game? Anyways, Brendan says, well, WTF, you saying it was 40,000. I'm just saying there were fans, Brendan, that thought it was closer to like a 40,000. I thought it was more than 22,000. I thought it was about 35,000. I mean, the whole lower bowl was full. Are you saying it was more or less than that? You saying it was more or less? Appreciate you all tuning in. Thank you all so much. Again, guys, stay tuned to all the content. There is content bleeding out of the eyeballs this week, truly. And I appreciate each and every single one of you. Again, of course, guys, podcast dropped this morning. Be sure to go check it out. Episode 763, full breakdown. Everything that happened over the weekend. Also, in case you missed anything, of course, TDC will drop on our podcast feed at 3 o'clock as it does each and every single day. So be sure to go check us out, guys. Again, thank you all so much. Appreciate you all tuning in. Have a great rest of your Monday, and we will talk to you all